The other question I've got for you guys is, should our Blender courses be focused on game design, or should it just be focused on using Blender well? Because a lot of stuff we don't touch in Blender, like grease paint and video editing.
Grease pencil, but yes.
Grease paint. Ooh, there are clowns. Jazz clowns.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that I think is a great tip for people is making your own stuff. So whether that's musically samples or texturally going out and taking photos of things, I think it really makes a difference to your game or assets in general if you've done it yourself. And by that, I don't mean creating a sample library, whether that again is textures or music, of other people's stuff, but actually having your own unique stuff actually means you'll have your own unique style. If you go to textures.com or just use, I don't know, Apple Loops from GarageBand, your music is going to sound, your art is going to look generic.
I mean, that was one of the things that we found with Mag Racer. As I put together that little floaty car thing using that plugin that I bought to do greebles easily and quickly.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. And then I use Substance Painter to paint the ship and put a random word on it, make it look all scritched up. And there we go. We have a thing that looks good.
Yeah. And it's how long? That was within an hour of exporting, painting, and doing everything else. We've got a basic ship. I mean, it's not geometrically complex, and we had a bit of fun afterwards making some different ship designs. But ultimately, you don't need much at the prototype stage.
This phase is because of the conversation that Mikey and I had about if we make Mag Racer, we'd love to make modular vehicles. Right? The ability to unlock different parts, and maybe they have a gameplay mechanic, maybe they're just, a bragging rights thing.
Yeah.
And then Mikey's like, "Oh, I'll make you a prototype one you can use," and he makes me a box with a cone
and a hemisphere on top.
And a hemisphere on top. It was like Homer Simpson doing a science fair project. Like, so you want me to go from the Beowulf to that? Like,
it was modular. It met all the design criteria I was given.
Yeah, I should have included not bad.
Yeah, but it works
Do
though.
We have
That's
a picture of that.
I think I don't know. It'll be on our chat somewhere. I don't know if you could find pictures.
Oh,
look at what I've made you.
I'm gonna look at our shared drive. What's my password? Don't answer that.
I don't know what your password is. You gave it to me.
It's not that. Or that.
Jan
thank you.
is a god.
That sounds like me. Okay, there's a bunch of PNGs in here. Let's see what I can find. Then Mikey started playing with other PNGs, which was quite interesting. Oh, actually.
Yes, I'll find some of the stuff.
Oh, no. This was... I'm going to share this with you in Discordia.
Ooh. It says, I buried Discord under a pile of windows. Here we go. Oh, yes, I was about to bring those up. Yeah. I'll bring those up. Is that in the Mag Race folder by any chance? Yes, it is. So I can drag this on the screen and everybody will see it. So these were really low poly designs, and I went through a. This one's very. I don't know how to describe it. So we ended up with two different shapes here, and they've got this sort of wishy-washy rendering because I couldn't be bothered to wait for cycles to finish rendering. So I literally set it to one sample, and denoising turned up full, and you get this very very plain or pastel-y oily paint. And then I did a bit of a higher res render as well. I think I shared this on Twitter as well at some point as just like an idea of what it would look like in game with futuristic cities. Again, really quick stuff. Just getting ideas out there is really important. Otherwise you don't really get what the game is and how it feels. And ultimately you could show some of those to someone. Let's say you're investing. You know, we want to kickstart this game. So whether it's that or another.
I mean, this is the thing: is when we started playing Mag Racer, just as when we got the actual driving right, and we completely misread how Wipeout works. because I was going on memory. So I'm making this thing where it's a magnetic track. It pushes you up. You've got anti-gravity. You're thrusting. It's like, no, Wipeout's on rails.
Yeah.
The ship in front of you is actually irrelevant. You're controlling the camera, right? And it's a lot closer to Star Fox. Like when you actually look at the footage, don't remember the experience, but look at the footage. That's what you're doing. What I've created is a boat game. Like it feels a lot more like driving a boat. It's really cool. And then we're thinking, okay, so we can get the driving right down. If we can get the NPCs in and we make this modular thing, at this point, is this an indie game?
That's
Because we're
something
now
we've
getting
run
to the
into.
point where maybe this isn't a course, right? Or if it is a course, maybe we need to start thinking, okay, what do we need to be teaching here? Like, how involved is this going to be? Because we could go all out. You know, we could make procedure-generated cities or a map editor. I mean, you could easily do a map editor in game because it's just a CSG curve that controls the path, the invisible walls, everything, right?
And from that, we could dot around cities where that doesn't intercept, cities, buildings, skyscrapers. So you could very easily create this.
We start looking at like different neighborhoods we could do, and we're really getting into this. And it's like, okay, well, first I have to finish God of Getaway. Secondly, is that a course? Is it a course we kickstart? Because that sounds huge. Is it an indie game? Is it an indie game we kickstart? Because that sounds dangerous because we're not an indie developer yet. Is it an indie game with a course on the back of it? We'll make the really complicated one, but here's how you make a simple one. Are we in competition with ourselves? Like, there's some interesting questions going on there.
I mean, that's the other thing about game development. You often, especially when you get just the bug of it, and then you realize that the spit and polish at the end is probably 80% of the work. You can get your prototype up and running, and then you need to create another level, or you need to create another asset, or you need to...
The guy who made RimWorld talked about the 1990 rule, or the 90-10 rule, which is the first 90% of your game takes 90% of the time, and the last 10% of your game takes 90% of the time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, and as Jan just said, it would take us... It feels like we could just do it, and it would take a while.
It's how much scope creep do we want? And we're good at scope creep.
We're wonderful at it.
Because God of Getaway was going to be a kart racing game. It was going to be Mario Kart.
Look at what it became. In fact, if I just do... That's not a kart racing game.
Not even close.
No. All right, brilliant.